Today, we are going to tackle a subject that, let's be honest, affects every single organization out there, whether they know it or not. We're going to break down the global playbook for fighting one of the sneakiest and most damaging threats in business: fraud. So, let's start with a question for you. When you think of the biggest dangers a company faces, what pops into your head? Maybe a tough new competitor? A crazy economic shift? Well, all of those are definitely huge hurdles. But the threat we're looking at today is a little different. It's something that often works from the inside, quietly eating away at a company's health, its reputation, and sometimes its entire future. We're talking about fraud. Yeah, fraud is so much more than just a minor headache. It's a really sophisticated universal risk. It can drain a company's bank account for sure, but it also destroys trust. And in our hyper-connected world, the ways fraudsters attack are just getting smarter and smarter. This is exactly why every single organization needs a solid game plan. Okay, so what are we really talking about when we say fraud? Just so we're all on the same page, let's use the official definition straight from the ISO 37303 standard. See, it's not just about someone stealing money. The key words here are intentional and dishonest. It's deception used to get something, and it always causes real harm. And here's the thing, fraud isn't just one type of threat. It can come from literally anywhere. You've got employees on the inside, hackers on the outside, or even shady business partners. And this is a big one. The standard also covers fraud committed by the organization itself. It is a true 360-degree problem. All right, so we've laid out the problem. It's big, it's complicated, and frankly, it's a little scary. So, what do you do about it? How do you fight back? Well, the good news is you don't have to invent a solution from scratch. There's an international blueprint designed for this exact challenge. And this is it, ISO 37003. Now, it gives guidance for something called a Fraud Control Management System, or FCMS. Don't let the acronyms scare you. Just think of an FCMS as your company's official written-down battle plan for fighting fraud. It's a structured system for building your defenses, put together by experts from all over the world. And the goal here is crystal clear. The standard itself says that this guidance helps organizations not only manage their risk, but also respond the right way when, not if, something happens. It's all about being prepared. Look, it can't guarantee fraud will never, ever happen, but it gives you the absolute best tools to deal with it when it does. So how do you actually start building this thing? Well, like any strong fortress, it all begins with a rock-solid foundation. You can't just jump straight to putting up defenses, you have to do the essential groundwork first. Let's look at what that means. The standard breaks it down into 3 foundational cornerstones. First, you've got to understand your own unique situation, what industry you're in, how you're structured, and where you're most vulnerable. Second, and this one is totally non-negotiable, you must get your leadership 100% committed. And third, you have to write it all down in a formal official policy. And let's just double-click on that leadership point because it's so important. The standard says top management can't just sign a piece of paper and walk away. Real commitment means they are actively making sure there's money and people for the system. They're constantly talking about why it matters, and they're creating a culture where people actually feel safe reporting something that looks fishy. Okay, with that strong foundation in place, now we can get to the heart of this system, the operational part. This is the day-to-day work of controlling fraud, and the standard organizes it into a really simple but powerful 3-part cycle. Prevent, detect, respond. That's it. This is the core loop. Think of it this way. You build walls to prevent attacks. You build watchtowers to detect anyone who gets past the walls, and you have a clear action plan to respond the moment an alarm bell rings. And here's what those defenses actually look like. On the prevention side, those are our proactive walls. You're doing things like properly screening new hires and business partners and putting strong financial controls in place. Then on the detection side, our watchtowers, you're actively looking for trouble by using data analytics, having secure whistleblower channels, and reviewing transactions after they happen. So what happens when one of your watchtowers spots something? Your response has to be just as structured. According to ISO, it's not just about finding someone to blame. The first step is always to contain the damage. Then you investigate, take action, and try to get back what was stolen. But maybe the most important step is that last one. You have to learn from what happened and improve your controls so it doesn't happen again. And that final point right there leads us perfectly into the last critical piece of this entire puzzle. See, building this anti-fraud fortress isn't a one-time project. The bad guys are always evolving, which means your defenses have to evolve too. The standard is really clear on this. You have to think of your fraud control system as a living, breathing thing. You can't just set it up and then forget about it. The whole framework is designed to be a continuous cycle of monitoring how you're doing, reviewing the results, and always improving. And this is how leadership stays plugged in. On a regular basis, they need to sit down and review the key data. They need to be asking, are our controls actually working? What did the latest audit tell us? Did we actually fix those weaknesses we found last quarter? And maybe most importantly, what new threats are popping up that we need to worry about? Ultimately, this whole cycle of review and improvement is what keeps the system alive and effective. It's what stops your fraud control plan from just being a dusty binder on a shelf and turns it into a dynamic defense that can actually adapt to new and smarter attacks. And let's face it, in today's world, that's the only way to survive. So, as we wrap up our tour of ISO 37003, I want to leave you with one final question to think about. After everything we've talked about, from getting leaders on board to prevention to response, what do you think is the single weakest link in your own organization's defenses right now?